and I'm the Assistant Director of the UCCS Sport Management program here in Colorado Springs. And what I want to talk with you guys about today is what the Olympic Committee, Denver Nuggets, and the English Premier League Soccer League all have in common, and that's us, our UCCS Sport Management program. And I'm really excited about the opportunity to talk with you guys, share some information, and then hopefully we can have some one-on-one dialogue as things go forward and you continue to consider your college options. So just a little bit very quickly about who we are. First and foremost, what I want you all to know is that we are a business-based program, and so all of our students are graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Business, and then their emphasis is sport management. So if you're a person who loves sports, are very passionate about it, follow sports, maybe you even play it yourself, and you want to get a business degree, that's where our program really does a great job of bringing those two passions and interests together. Our business degree is AACSB accredited, and so that's the highest business school accreditation worldwide. So that helps guarantee stronger support for the curriculum, the faculty, overall student learning experience to make sure that we as a college are offering our students everything we possibly can to ensure your learning and your outcomes. As many of you, I know that this is a NACAC college fair, and so as many of you are probably joining us from all over the country, about 40% of our students come from out of state. And for UCCS, that's a really big number. We're not a huge out-of-state population, but our program is because we're a very, very sport-centric community, and I'm going to talk about that more in a little bit. But Colorado Springs is known internationally for sport, and so that's why our program is really, really well placed and why we bring so many students from across the country. Another number that I think is really important for you guys to know is that our retention rate is over 80% every year. And what that means is that students that come to UCCS for sport management stay at UCCS and finish their degree because they're finding that what they read on the website, what they read in the brochures, what they heard in these sorts of dialogues, that's what they're getting when they come here. And so the curriculum is very robust, the internship experiences and engagement in the industry, all of those things really root our students here in Colorado Springs and with UCCS. And so if you guys do come here, you're likely to stay here. And hopefully with some of these photos that you see, you'll know that you'll enjoy Colorado. It's a pretty beautiful place. So this is a pretty busy slide on the right here, but this is what your four-year degree plan would look like on the right. It's got every single class that you would take if you chose to come to UCCS. And you're going to see that some of the classes are very gen ed based, college algebra, English composition, things like that. Then you're going to see that there's quite a few business classes. So all of our business students, no matter their emphasis, have to take these core business classes. So you're going to see a lot of those listed. And then anything that's bolded and starts with SPTM, those are our sport management classes. So that way you can start to see, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and quite a bit actually of sport. So there's 12 total sport management classes throughout the 4 years, which really makes it a robust offering. It's not just a minor where you're taking 2 or 3 classes. And then on the left, what this picture is representing is that we are taking our AACSB requirements, what that governing body for accreditation is saying we need to offer from a business school, and we're aligning it with the industry. We work very closely with our sport partners to ensure that when our students graduate, they're able to offer these organizations really, really great experiences and employment. So if our students graduate, go work for the Nuggets, let's say, but our students just didn't learn anything, our curriculum isn't aligned with the industry, it's not going to work out. And that's why these partnerships with these organizations is so critical, because they're telling us, hey, we're noticing that your students are short on X, Y, or Z. And then we look at how can we implement that curriculum or that course into things to make sure that we fill the void and help our students get the best future outcomes possible. So we've got relationships with about 100 different sport organizations worldwide. And 60 of those are right here in Colorado Springs. So this slide is meant to show you a small reflection of those 100 or more than 100 relationships that we have. But we've broken it out into 4 key sectors of sport. And there are not just 4, but we've lumped it into 4 for simplicity. So you have professional sport, collegiate sport, Olympic sport, and international. So as you think about what might I want to do in my career, what might my dream job be, it may fall into one of these four categories. And so from a professional standpoint, we have a great working relationship with Kroenke Sports and Entertainment. They're the ownership group that owns the Denver Nuggets, Colorado Avalanche, and the Colorado Rapids, plus the LA Rams, plus Arsenal, plus the Pepsi Center. They've got a lot of money. We work with over 6 English Premier League soccer clubs. So you'll see West Ham United is listed there, but there's more that we work with: Everton, Man City, Norwich, Sunderland. And we've sent over 25 students in the last, 9 years to do internships with those different EPL clubs. The Vibes and the Switchbacks, those are our local pro sports team. The Vibes are a single A baseball team, and the Switchbacks are a USL pro soccer team. The college space is huge. If you might want to be a college athletic director, work in college ticket sales, huge opportunities right here in Colorado Springs, both on the conference level, but also on the institutional side as well. The Olympics. The Olympics is Colorado Springs. We are Olympic City, USA. We are the headquarters of the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. We have about 26 of the 57 national governing bodies are headquartered all in Colorado Springs. So if you might want to be on the nonprofit Olympic amateur side of sport, then Colorado Springs is really the best place. It's the most densely saturated Olympic market in the country. So that's definitely something to think about. And then recreational. We have a whole bunch of organizations that don't really fit into one of those 3 categories, and so that we kind of lump them into that recreational group. Pikes Peak International Hill Climb is a car race that races up Pikes Peak, and so they're going over 14,000 feet at an average speed of 80 or 85 miles an hour. It's pretty insane. Then in terms of industry engagement, we connect our students to the industry at all times. That's part of our job. We feel that's a duty that we have to our students. So we have a group called our Sport Management Activity Council, and it's a student-led board. We have a president and then 5 board members. And so they work as the liaison between the student body and the faculty and staff of our program to suggest these are the types of speakers we want to hear from. These are the talking points we want to hear about to learn. These are the different ways to engage. And so most of the events that we do are formulated through SMAC's consultation. Mentorship program, that's a huge thing that all of our students are encouraged to participate in the mentorship program. They get paired one-on-one with an industry employer, and then the relationship builds. They meet a minimum of 3 times throughout the semester, and they talk about whatever is relevant to that student and that employer. Shares feedback, guidance, mentorship, and that's the beauty of it is we don't have to put a box on it. It really takes its own shape as they have those discussions. And then every year we host an annual networking night. So that annual networking night occurs next Thursday. Tonight, immediately after this call, we have our Networking 101 session, which is meant to help educate our students on what is networking, how do we do it, why do we do it. And so we'll have an individual talking virtually to our students about the who's, the whys, the whats as it relates to networking to prepare them for that big virtual networking night next Thursday. And that is one of the COVID impacts of things is that event is normally, it's this big room on the middle left-hand side of those photos over there, that overlooking photo. That was last year's networking night. It's a very fancy event. You wear the nicest clothes you have. We can't do that this year, so we're doing it virtually, but that's what we're hoping to get back to in the near future. And then finally, how do I get into this program? So I'm going to let you look at the requirements based on if you're a freshman or if you'd be a transfer. The one thing I want to call out is in the freshman category, what's listed in black font is our typical admission requirement. However, this year, knowing that many of you don't have access to an ACT or an SAT test, there is an alternative. So if you have a 3.25 unweighted GPA and you're in the better half of 50% of your high school class, you can be admitted to the College of Business and our program without an ACT or SAT score. And that's important just because of the times that we're in, not having access to those tests. There are ways around that. So I just wanted you guys to know that you do not need an SAT or ACT if you have a 3.25 unweighted or higher and are in the better half of your class. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you guys. I think we have a few minutes for some questions, and I'd love to hear what's on your guys' mind.
One question that has come in is about minoring. So the student would like to know, is there a way to major in sport management and minor in exercise science or vice versa? So I know we don't have a minor in exercise science or sport management, but can you talk about minoring in something else that we do have a minor in with sport management?
Correct. Yeah, so great question. We sport do not have a minor. It's an emphasis only option. And Shia, you might be able to answer better than I can. I'm not sure what, in terms of health sciences and our exercise science program, I'm not sure what other programs there are minors in, but I think that's a great, if that's a passion, there's definitely different ways to go about it. My undergrad and grad degree are actually exercise science, and then I got my MBA. So I have a very wide lens on that, I think, in terms of how the two industries can really complement themselves. So whoever's asking that question, I'd love to engage with you on the side, after this call at another time, to talk further about that too. Chia, do you have any ideas on minors?
So within the health sciences side, you can minor in health and wellness promotion. That is the closest option to add something in within that health field, unless you wanted to add in biology, for example.
Okay.
But those are the ones I see. And then we will have this session recorded. It will be posted on our YouTube. So we will make sure that you can still see it on the YouTube channel. I will put it inside of this chat as well, so everybody will have access to that. Then can you tell us more about the relationship with the Navs, the Nuggets, and the Rapids that you had mentioned?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So it's a really, really unique partnership that we have with them. That allows our students to work independently with different managers throughout Kroenke Sports as a whole. So all of those employees work for the Nuggets, the Avalanche, or the Rapids. And it really allows our students to take a project that is given to them by one of these managers and really dive into whatever that project is. And so recently our students actually looked at what Kroenke was doing these surveys to their fans. And so as many of you know, we can't really get back into stadiums right now. So our students were able to look at what do fans need, what do fans want based on survey to be comfortable to get back into a stadium, between masks, gloves, sanitizing, all of those different aspects. And that's just one example of one of these projects. But a lot of them are around marketing, partnership activation. So how do we activate a sponsorship, etc. But it's a really neat opportunity for our students to run with a project, have some autonomy, and then at the end of the semester, they do a huge presentation to the executive team of these different organizations. And they've got a great opportunity to shine and really make a name for themselves. So it's a cool and fun thing for our students.
I think the last question we have time for is, can you talk a little bit about the internships and what students would do on those internships?
Yeah, so it really depends on the student, and that's where myself and then my colleague Rachel Leaf, we work together one-on-one with each student to figure out what might they be interested, what type of sector of sport, what department, etc. And then we really hone in on what the different opportunities are available. So with about 100 students going on internship every single academic year, there's countless opportunities with marketing, ticket sales, sponsorships, event management, even accounting and finance. If a student is a dual emphasis in accounting or finance, for example, there's different ways to get involved in those things too. So we really work with our students to figure out what their dreams, what their desires are, and then help place them in the appropriate department and the appropriate organization.
Great. Well, that is all we have time for in this session today, but we wanted to thank everyone for coming and asking your great questions. Ian, can you also tell me your email?
Yeah, I'll throw it back up on the screen here. It's right down in the center, iratz@uccs.edu. If you're on this call and you want to chat more, just shoot me an email, and I'd love to set up time for a phone call or a video call and make sure that we get your questions answered.
Perfect. Thank you everyone for attending, and I am gonna put up this recording so it will be in there as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.